So the mic says everyone should be finishing Tafman Daled, moving on to Tafman Hay. Tafman Hay is very scientific like a simon. That's on my Makom, a lot of Shagisayes and Mechaschillah, Pekule. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So over the course of the next week we should finish Tafman Hay. It's only 1 or 2 small Gemaras, and we already saw Sif Gimel B'etzem. So to finish off Tafman Hay, and then we're going to do somewhat of a Chazara. Sometime next week, Zach will give out questions, test of sorts. Then we should try to answer these questions, write up answers to these questions, and then at some point we'll chaz over the answers together. So right now I just want to talk about something that's a little bit a side point in a lot of the simanim that we saw. We're going to get back to it. One of the next simanim we're going to learn after Tafman is Tafman Ches. Tafman Ches is B'etzem Medin or Chometz Shalom Pesach, which we already faced a number of times, came up a number of times, and we'll see Mamash Barichos. That also happens to be the simon of Chiras Chometz, Darkei Akinonim, how to sell Chometz, when to sell Chometz, Tachila B'diavad. So we'll get a little bit into that today. We've decided a few more Marmakomis. I really want to bring out from what we saw in Taflan Gimel, Taflan Vav, Taflan He, Taflan Dalet. And that is the question of Yotzei B'Shiara, Mafresh B'Yam Yotzei B'Shiara, and Oitze Beis HaOitzer. That's the one in Vav. We also have Taflan Vav, bringing us back a little Taflan Vav. And that is that even though all the Simona we've been learning until now is that we see Klar many times the first parak of Pesachim, that Hagam, that Midaraisa, Yerov Rishonim, you can get rid of your problem by Yerov with one of 2 ways, either with Bittul Chametz or with Be'er Chametz. That's the sheet of the Ran, beginning of the Sechta, that the Dika Lane takes off by Yerov because Ter Semach and Chazak. Even if you didn't do Bittul, and if you did Bittul, and certainly you're Mafkir your Chametz or you're Mashbis your Chametz Belev, you're not over by Yerov by Matzah. Chazal we're talking, you have to do both. So one way is Mefurish in the Gemara, that's Gemara Daf Dalet, Haboidik Tzarech Sheivatel, because Shem Yim Tzipus B'Yafel, like you saw already Barichos. And the other way is Rashi Tois in the beginning of the Masechta, that even if you are Mevatel, that's not enough, we're not Semach and Bittul, you have to do B'dika also. B'dika means B'dika and Beer, to get rid of the actual Chametz. And the reason is because Hashem Yochal we saw in Toisus and many times in the Poskim, and for Rashi some kind of Tzarech Bal Yirah, maybe you're not going to be Mevatel B'Lev Shalim. So we saw already many times, and that's in Taflan Gimel and Taflan Vav. We're going to see more Ofanim. We saw many Ofanim that Chazal, we're not machmer this Chomer B'derabbanan. After all, it's a Chomer B'derabbanan. Min HaTorah, with Bittul Ba'al Masagi, or with just B'dika Ba'al Masagi. So, once you're mechuyev to do a B'dika Ba'alma is B'derech Klam never Sagi, because it's just easy just to do the Bittul. Why not be B'vatal B'chametz? There might be actually one Hechatimtza in Taflan and Zayin by Sefer Maspir, the Shrevi Alach over there. I don't want to get to the Pratim now, but so there is a mashmos over there that potentially a Seicher might be chayv to do a B'dika, but not a Bittul, or a Bittul without a B'dika. Al Kol Panim B'derech Klal, the Kam of a Kam Hechatimtzas that we saw, that Chazal or Mekel, are the other way. And even though you have to do Bittul, you don't have to do Beer. What does it mean? Beer, you don't have to do B'dika. Tafla Megillah, we saw a few Dugmos. Nafalov Mapoiles, Chometz B'Toich HaChor, and then in Tafla Medvav by someone who's Yotzei B'Shiara, or someone who's Oise Beisai Oitzer. All these I found were basically it's very difficult. It's difficult to be Mavar your Chametz. Chazal said you don't have to, for this Din Derabanan, you don't have to extend yourself that much. You can be Samich on the Bittul. So one of the dinim is Taflan Medvav is Yotzei B'Shiara. If a person leaves his house and leaves Chametz back at home, so as long as he's leaving before 30 days, or he's making his house place where there was Chametz, making a big Oitzer and there's Chametz in there, so he leaves before 30 days, he's not Mechayiv to do B'dika. So now, one would assume, and that's certainly the mashmalos of that whole sugya, like we spoke about a little bit, that's all Chazal require of you. So meaning you leave your house, you leave your summer home, whatever many months before, and you have chametz there, you don't have to worry about the chametz at the time. What's going to happen around the Pesach time when you're in your other house? So just be mevatel the chametz back at home. Person, his manena would be to get to someone who has like a summer home, some kind of home like that, and he has whiskey there, he has other chametz there, just be mevatel, it's fine. Today we have the Eitzav and Mechira, so most of the Shilas L'maisa are only really in the B'di'evidik case where a person forgets to do a Mechira, and what's the day. So we would assume that a person did everything that's mukal on you. If you do everything that's mukal on you, then there should be no problem. After Pesach, of Chometz she'avar of Pesach, everything should be fine. So Yotzei B'Shiara or Oisa Beisai Oitzer, the Stimas Kala Poskim, is that you did everything that you're supposed to do. So obviously we're not going to knas you. Why would we knas you? You did everything you're supposed to do. And there's no din of Chometz Pesach. So that person who forgot to do Mechiras Chametz L'mosh, and he has $1,000 worth of whiskey in his house, in his summer home, in his other home, and all he does is Erev Pesach. So he hasn't been in that house already in months. And Erev Pesach, he's Mavatal al Chometz. He remembers before this man, he didn't make a Mechira, and he was Mavatal al Chometz. Anyways, Mavatal al Chometz, all the Chometz that he has. So that bittul is all Chazal required of you. They don't require you to do anything more. So after Pesach, when he goes back, and he has all that Chometz was in his house, and his Rosh there should be no problem with Chometz Shabbat Pesach, and it should be Mutter La'achar HaPesach. That's what one would have assumed just reading this Gemara. Now, there's a halacha in Tov Mem Ches Sifhei. So we didn't see this halacha, so I'm just going to keep it saying the halacha. It's a very simple halacha of Mamish 1-9. That is, and there's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch based on Yerushalmi, which we'll discuss. Chometz hanimtza Tov Mem Ches Sifhei. Chometz hanimtza b'Beis Yisrael Achar Pesach. Aser afal pi shebitl. Even though you did a bittul, so you were not over Bal Yirah, the Chometz Achar Pesach is still aser. So that sounds like our case, yeah? I have my Chometz in my summer home, I was Mavatal all the whiskey, but the Chometz is there. Afal pi shebitl says it's aser. Okay, so before we get into any details about this halacha, one would simply assume that this halacha in Tov Mem Ches Sifhei, one could have thought, that was a machlokes of HaPoskim, as we'll see, he did something wrong. He didn't do beer. This is talking about his own house. He did bittul. He didn't do beer. You didn't do beer. And we're going to find chametz. No, ask that chametz. You didn't do the beer. You didn't do b'dikin beer. Kifi that you're mechayiv. As we'll see, that Svar is not so pashut, and that's really what creates the problems. But the ma'isa, this din in Tov Mem Ches Sifhei al pi Yerushalmi wouldn't have necessarily been a steer to what we find in many cases. The Chazal say, and after all, what are Chazal being makel on you? Don't worry, you don't have to do beer. Just do bittul v'alma. Is that just for Bal Yirah? That's also that you could be nena from that chametz after Pesach. That's what one would have thought. Fine. So where do the problems really start? The Tov Mem Ches Hey, we'll see over there. It is a shayla in the poskim, but the problem really starts is azoy. So first of all, let's be makdim. All these dinim of chametz b'toich achar, b'toich habar. So some of them it's clear that even if you have vadei chametz there, it's beseder. But l'maisa by the din of yotzi b'shiara, l'maisa that we have to keep in mind. There's machlokes on poskim. Some poskim hold, that's the Mishnah brings both Shitas, Magen Avram, Paskins Apid Yerushalmi, that if you leave your summer home, you leave all your risky, since that's Chametz Yodua, that's Vadei Chametz, there is no such heter. The whole sugya doesn't apply to you. The Mishnah brings the Chayk Yankiv, and many poskim, Apid the Ran holds that the Bavli is Chayk on the Yerushalmi. So Me'ikar then it seems that we do have what to rely on. So I'm just saying this whole nidin is obviously only Shayach, if we're pasking with Kula like the Chayk Yankiv, like the Ran, that even for Chametz Yodua we have these heterim. Like we do find in the Chametz B'toich Habar, B'toich Achar, that who adin, if you Yotze B'shiara, or your oitzer beis oitzer, but if you're oitzer b'shiara, let's talk about like the common case. You leave a house, so even though there's vadei chametz there, that is shana b'machloikes. But l'maisa we're meikol meikra din. It seems like we're meikol al pi the Ran, who holds that the Bavli is chaylik on Yerushalmi, and we have a heter even for chametz yidur. So if everyone recalls, in Taf Lamed Vav we had a chubus or rashba, and that's some of the makars that were quoted in this little booklet because it's really quoted again in the poskim in Simon Taf Mem Hey. But in Taf Lamed Vav, right after we see the din of yotzer b'shiara and oitzer beis oitzer, the Ramah paskins a Rashba. The Rashba says that there's a person who, not the case of leaving his house, not the case of Oisa Beis HaOitzer. Oisa Beis HaOitzer means that he's putting books or apples in his house. He's filling up something not chametz, and on the bottom there's some chametz over there. So if it's before 30 days, you don't have to worry about the chametz. You don't have to go do a b'dika and a beer. Just leave it there and it's fine. The Rashba speaks of the case where there's chitim. A guy has a warehouse, a storage thing of wheat. So he's making a big pile. The problem is the ones on the bottom, since it's wet on the floor, they become chametz. So the Rashba says the same din of oitzer applies. If it's within 30 days, you have to get rid of that chametz before you pile it up. Otherwise, you're going to be chayiv to do a beer. But if it's before 30 days, if it's a few months before, hagam, you're piling up your wheat, and you're piling up your chitim that are not mechumatzim on top of chametz gomer. But it's before 30 days, you have the heter of oitzer beis oitzer. And the Mele, when it comes to Erev Pesach, you don't have to start thinking. The Rashba says the Rashba is misbate, like to me. I never heard of any such a thing. Any Jew who goes to his oitzer chitim, every common thing, everyone had their oitzer chitim. We never heard of such a thing. A person goes to Erev Pesach and cleans out his whole oitzer chitim, so it's beseder. And the Rashba says, even though it's beseder, if l'maisa you have vadai chametz under there, there's two cases. There's a case where you're not sure what happened to the wheat. Did it get chametz? Did it spoil? There was a nisabish already. But if you know that there's vadai chametz underneath, it says the Rashba still have the heter. Just like by naflol of mapoilas, you for sure have a heter because it's unaccessible to you. You don't have to do a beer. What says the Rashba? Hagam that milachatchila, you can be samich on your bittul. You don't have to do beer, but the chametz over there is going to be aser achar Pesach. So achar Pesach, this guy is talking about a merchant. He was selling his wheat. After Pesach, when you go and you sell your wheat, you have to take that bottom layer and not sell it to the guy. You can't be nene. Kedin chametz sh'arol of Pesach, that's aser b'hana. Yeah, the Rashba says, and the Rashba himself says, if it wouldn't be a dua, so say once it's your dua, and that's his choose Rashba, which I printed out over here in this Ram Komis, and that's quoted the halacha in Taflam Mirav Sid Gimel. Now, where does the Rashba base this halacha on? I mean, after all, again, this is l'chayr the steer minei. Once we're mating you l'chatchila to do something, so what are we knasing you? Knas is usually do something wrong. So you didn't do anything wrong. Chazal, am I supposed to be mevatel? I was mevatel. Am I supposed to be baidik? Am I supposed to be mevar? No, I'm not. Chazal gave me heter. Just like Nafal Mapelis, just like all this case in Taflam Gimel, just like Yetziv Bishara. So what exactly knasing you? So the Rashba brings a Yerushalmi. And the Yerushalmi says like this, that there's machlokes b'yochnei shlakish on the following case. Mi shehifker chimtzoi b'yud gimel. Someone was mafker his chametz on yud gimel nisan. That's the lashon over there. Kipshuva, as we'll see, it's not talking about a regular bittul. Not talking about a regular bittul because it's mashma there. There's a din l'chatchila. It could be that you could be mafker the chametz. So someone takes all his chametz, and it's a little bit kashur to what the Rav was speaking about mitzvah tashbisu, but certainly. Maybe you're losing out on a mitzvah, not losing out on a mitzvah. You have to save some chametz for Seifers chametz. But certainly, someone who takes all his chametz and throws it out, never to be seen again in the middle of the street. So obviously, he's not over by Rabbi Matzah. He doesn't have any. And when it comes to his money, he has no tashbisu to do because it's over bottle. Whether there's a mitzvah kiyuvas, should you save some? That's mitzvah tzedach. Save. So Yerushalmi says someone who's mafker chemtza on your gimel, which is fine. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to take all your chametz and just, you're not interested, just throw it into the street and it just goes goodbye. Says the Rashba.
There is where you take it out of your shus or just not?
What's if you take it out of your shus?
Case there is where you take it out of your shus too, or you just...
Yeah, let's assume the real hefker, not just that bitul. We'll see. There's a chiluk. I'm just saying the case that's for sure okay. So the Rashba says, but let's say you did that and you want to go take that chametz back. So I mean, obviously, you didn't stop throwing it in the street in a random place where everyone's trampling on it or the guy's going to take it. It remained where it is. The person put the chametz in a certain place. He wants to go back after, basically, and take it back. He was mafker chemtza. Mafker chemtza is fully on seder. You didn't do anything wrong. So machlok is b'yochnei shlakish. We pass like a b'yochna that it's also. Now let it be netted from that chametz after Pesach, and that's what the din of Shulchan Aruch is based on. Afal pisha bitloi, it's still also. So why is it usher? So there's 2 days in the Yerushalmi over there. Halacha, we pass in Rabbi Yochanan and says, the Gemara says one side in Rabbi Yochanan is because of chashash haram. What's the chashash haram? So this already brings us to this funny situation where a person's being mafker his chametz, being mevatel his chametz, but if you know about it and it's somehow in a makom shomer, a place where you still have access to it, so are you really mafker? Were you really mevatel? So that was the chashash that we passed in Rabbi Yochanan and says no, maybe not. So Hagam that milachatchila, you're certain to find him, or Chazal say, fine, you want to be samech on the ikar adin. The ikar adin is that bittel's enough. If you're Yetziv B'Shiara, or chametz under Teich bar, or whatever, in a bar, or oitze beis oitze. The base in all these cases, there's a chashash harama. The way the Rashba learns that a harama is azoi. Very nice you did bittel, but did you really mean it? Were you really mafkir b'leiv shalom all your chametz and mamish done ka'afar the ara? No, you're thinking that in 8 days from now I'm going to go get it back. So the Rashba says that's the chashash harama that Yerushalmi is talking about for your geirus. So the Meila, in this case, of Peiros Mechumatzim, of Chita Mechumatzim. So the guy's a wheat merchant. He sells his wheat. So he's a Mavatal Mamish Ka'afar the Aretz Bottle of. Says the Rashba, what do you mean? You know that in a week and a half you're going to be selling this very same chametz that you're calling Ka'afar the Aretz. So Meila is a chashash harama that maybe you didn't do the Bittul B'Lev Shalim, and we have to ask the chametz after Pesach. That's the Rashba, which is quoted in Taflam Mikvah. Now, l'chayra, if we have this chash, if that's the way we're learning this Yerushalmi, and that's the din, even though you did what you're supposed to do, and me'ikra din, midaraisa, that's all it's expected of you. And even midarabbanon, we're not machayev you to do bir b'dika in all these cases that we're discussing. But there's a chash harama. So because of that chash harama, we'll allow you to do it, but just be careful because it's going to be also la'achar a Pesach machmas this chash harama. That we're scared you didn't do a proper bittul biyah. So now Fiza, what should come out? That who had an Eitzer and who had an Yetziv B'Shara. So even though l'chayr lo matzinu in the Paiskim, but l'chayr that would be this situation. What's the Rashba saying? He's saying very nice. You have no chiyuv. You have no chiyuv, but did you really mean it? So a person's Yetziv B'Shara, a person leaves a summer home and has bottles of whiskey over there. L'chayr then we'll say, but after all, did you really mean that bittul? When you say ka'afar dar, yeah, we're talking about someone who didn't do mechira. You do mechira, so okay. Talking about someone who forgot to do mechira, he has a hefsid gadol, he has a huge amount of whiskey. And he was Mavatal. He was Mekayim Dina the Gemara, shoot the Gemara. All the Gemara says, all the Rishonim Navav, leave your house, Erev Pesach, do Bittul, you're fine. Al Zayn never Zok the Rashba, no, it's Asr. Asr Bahana, you have to spill all your whiskey down the drain. Why? Because we're Choshesh, you weren't Mavatal, B'lev Shalom, because it was Almanas Liskois Bay, and that's what the Rashba applies to the case of the Chit. And in Cain, even though in Taf Lamed Vav, the case of Yetz B'Shiyara, where the case of Oisa B'Sa Oitzer, it sounds like everything's B'Seder Gomer, but after you read the Ramah, and you understand, no, we have a Rashba, we have Yerushalmi, and we're in big trouble. Now, on the side here in the Dershowitz, that's what led us that. The only thing they bring, Halach L'Mais, the only Pesach they bring Halach L'Mais is the Tshuva Nigros Moshe, in Chelik Daled, Siman Tzadikei. Looked up that Tshuva. Talking back about Mechiras Chometz. And Moshe writes over there, he's talking about being Samech on Mechiras Chometz for the din of Chometz Shalom Pesach, it's Seder. And the Moshe points out, that this whole din of Taf Lamed Vav, Yetz B'Shiyara, that person leaves the house, you have to do beer, you don't have to do beer, after Lamed, before Lamed. The Moshe's like, he's talking practically. He said, Halach L'Mais to practice, I'm again that whole machlokes. V'adai Chometz, Safek Chometz, what's in the game? So to the Moshe, all your Chometz can be Yasser Ba'ana. You're gonna be Samech on the Chok Yankiv that I left my summer house 6 months ago, so I don't have to do B'dika. Says the Moshe, don't be stupid. Because if you don't do Mechira, it's all going down the drain. Chometz Shalom Pesach. So you see, Moshe, it pashtus without any makar in the poskim. Just you assume that once the Rashba says the din over here, so Ma'aseh then about that applies to the din of Yetz B'Shara. And Nebuch, this guy's whiskey, you forgot to do Mechira, even though he was Mekayim in the Gemara. That's the Rashba, that's the Yerushalmi, and Nigros Moshe applies it to the din of Yetz B'Shara, and all the whiskey goes in the garbage. Fine. So that is that's what we were nisayr to. When you learn Taf Lamed Vav, it's a very strange thing, because the Maisa, at least in Taf Lamed Vav, in the poskim, you're showing with Vav, by the din of Yetz B'Shara, no one points out that the Maisa, it's not all you have to do. You really have to do much more than just bittul. I mean, if you don't do beer, you stand, you're taking care of your Bali Rav, you may have a much bigger problem. So, the emphasis that the Chok Yankiv over there on that din, in Taf Lamed Vav, on that very same Rashba, he already points out, he clears the Shiloh, he says it's not so posh. What's his Shiloh? On the din of the Ramah, in Sif Contest, Chok Yankiv Contest, on the din of the Ramah, that by Chitim Chumatzim, the Rashba says, L'chshash HaRamah, because you obviously have in mind to get those Chitim back after Pesach. And it's also Bano. It says, Chok Yankiv, he quotes Sefer Rosh Yosef, and then he says, I'm not sure what we did by Yetz B'Shiyara. Because by Yetz B'Shiyara, Shaloi Hoyer Ba'oiser Shah B'Beisai, V'gam Bitloi, V'im Kein Loi Avar, Loi Adiraisa, Loi Adirabon. He did everything he was supposed to do. The Loi Mechuyev B'Diko B'Yer Klal. Oisei Chometz Ma Yedinoi. Aflo Das HaTorah Sim Taf Memches. Taf Memches means the din of the Rashba, the din of the Yerushalmi. Then even though you're Mevatel Chometz, still Chometz Shalom Pesach. So the Chok Yankiv says, no, I think maybe it should be okay over there. I am B'Sifri Torah Shalom, he has a tshuva in Torah Shalom. In Taf Memches, if you look at the Shach Tshuva there's tens and tens of tshuvas, all about Jews who made a living selling yain saraf, selling whiskey. And this was a huge shiloh about all kinds of shilohs, Noid Yehuda, Akiva, Eger, Chok Yankiv, tons of tshuvas, huge shai tshuvas over there, recording many tshuvas. This was a big asik about someone. The Torah Shalom tshuva was about a guy who was in jail. So he was betvisa, so he couldn't sell his chametz. So he did bittul. He was honest that he couldn't do mechira. So and it was a hefsid meruba. There were people with their whole parnasa, a year's worth of schayra. So that's all the nidonim of this. Torah Shalom quotes his own tshuva. The Maisa.
So it comes to that problem.
Oh, so the Torah Shalom is going on the din of the Rashba, who says that the chitim u'chumatzim are aser. He's like, but Yetz B'Shara, that should be better. You weren't over lo yadirabban lo yadiraisa. Neither was chitim u'chumatzim. In the case of Chitim Chometz with the Rashba, he did everything he's supposed to. The Rashba says you do not have to do beer. So my high. So emphasis, if you look over there in Taf Memches, the Mishmur brings the Chok Yankiv over there. And the Chok Yankiv because again, the Rashba was talking about someone who didn't do anything wrong, and that's speaking Rashi. So this din, which is Yerushalmi, Chometz Shem Sub Beisrael Achar Pesach Aser Afal Pisha Bittul. You did Bittul, too bad. It's Aser Bahana. You have to spill it all out. Mishmur brings, says the Chok Yankiv, but that's not if you did Bedika also. I mean, let's say a person did Bedika, Bittul, again, without a Mechid. You did Bedika, you did Bittul in your own house. You did everything you could, but humans are humans, you're not perfect. And after Pesach, you find a bottle of whiskey. Find an expensive bottle of whiskey. I did Bittul, I did Bedika, I searched, I missed it. I didn't see this bottle. So Chok Yankiv Tai knows that there it's Takamoto. Because what he did everything he was supposed to do. Mishmur brings that Shita. And he says, over there in Tashlim Chesif Hey.
Not sure
L'chayr it is. What do you mean? L'chayr it is Shaykh L'Rash.
it's not like he
This is the
knows about
problem.
it, he's mevatel. He doesn't know. He took a chance.
You're saying here it's better.
Yeah.
Well, again, but in the Rashba's case, so you're saying it's different because he knew about it. Oh.
Yeah, functionally did.
He was mechazer after it. Fakert. He was showing that if I find it, I'll get rid of it.
So you're saying you can assume that he did a good Bedika, you don't have to be Choshesh V'harama, everything should be okay. Meaning Hagam, that in the Rashba's case, he was also Loy Avar, Loy Adirabon, and Loy Adaraisa.
In fact,
He wasn't supposed to do Bedika. So you're saying since he could have done something more.
He was around and he knew about it and he's mevatel it, as opposed to the guy who said, listen, if I find it, I'm going to get rid of it. He's cool by getting rid of stuff. So
Right, so he was less Chasharam.
Is the wrong by the Rashi maybe you talk about being overrun by your own? Because if you don't mean it, then you're overrun by your own. In this case, we did a bedika. The mice it's chamashay you do.
Assuming he did it as Bedika?
Yeah.
Right. Meaning in either case, even the Rashba's case, the Rashba says, Yerushalmi seems to say, even though, that's what all the poskim say in Taf Chesed, even though you did bittul, you're not overrun by your own. So maybe there's a chashash, you can be mefakik on this bittul. Lamai said this seems to be the Chayk Yankiv L'shitasa. Chayk Yankiv, who is Noita L'Hakol, also over there by the Rashba. Also over there, not by the Rashba, in the case of Yatza Bishar. And also in the case of Badak Ubito, is the Pshat, that Hagam, that were Choshesh V'harama, that a person might not be mevatel correctly, but that's only if there's a reason to be choshesh is not going to be mevatel correctly. So Memela, Zakta Chaygankiv, a person who's mevatel and he didn't do bedika, so obviously there's something funny going on with his bittul. Did you really mean your bittul? Why don't you do bedika? You didn't do bedika beer. So you probably want to save your chametz. So we're choshesh, your bittul is no good. Your chametz is asr lachar Pesach. He was over on Takanas Chazal. And Masha'en Kain, if you were badik or bittul, if you did everything you're supposed to do, but who had the Zakta Chaygankiv, the same logic would apply. Even a person who's Yetzi B'Sharim. Now, like Shimi's pointing out, it's a little different Yetzi B'Sharim, because you know there's Chometz there. But Zakta Chaygankiv, Lav Dafka. Lav Dafka is telling you no Chometz. Hooray, once you did what Chazal told you to do, the Lishon Pikbook, so then you're okay. So Yetzi B'Shar is okay. If you did B'dik and Bittul, it's okay, and there's no Knas. How can we Knas? You did everything you're supposed to do.
It's not like Kalam with Bereshit,
That what?
And
that's why, exactly. And that's why Oitzer Chita might be worse. Because in the case of Yetzi B'Shara, a person leaves his house, he's not machavim when he leaves his house 3 months before Pesach, then I'm cheshbing now, I'm saving my chametz on Pesach, I'm not going to buy chametz. Chazal said, you don't have to think about it more than a month before, just forget about it, just leave your house, you'll deal with it Erev Pesach. The Hu Hadin, a person who is Badik Ubito. Masha'en Kain, by Oitzer Achitin, the Rash was talking about, after all, the whole point of Oitzer Achitin is to save your chitin, is to be shomer your chitin. And part of your chitin are chametz, meaning and that's what the Rashba speaks out. It's a meaning like this. Igros Moshe says, Oitzer Chitim, who adin Oitzer Yetzi B'Shara. What I'm saying is, is that there's 3 darkness. There's a person who mamish wasn't Mekayim Divrei Chazal, he wasn't Mevatel, he wasn't Boidik his Chametz like he was supposed to, and there was certainly Knasu. Certainly the Yerushalmi says, certainly there we have a Pshash on. On the other extreme, we have a person who did everything he was supposed to do, Kedasu Kedin. So when the Rash was machmir by the chitin, maybe that's because it's a special svara by the chitin. A person who has chitin, he wants to save his chitin. It says oitzer chitin after all, so he's saving all chitin in his oitzer. So there we have to be choishish that even though you didn't do anything wrong, we can't mata that after Pesach. We can't say that your bittul was a good bittul.
Why don't we say that by the case of the Otzer too? The guy's making an Otzer. He sees on the
So that's
bottom
what I'm
of
saying.
the and he goes ahead and
Before
piles
30
it on and he
days,
knows
sai
it's going to be there
oitzer. So
afterwards.
sai oitzer. No, not oitzer chitim. Oitzer peiros. Oitzer svarim. Sai oitzer and sai misha hoydach mibesa. So you're not thinking about your... At that point, you're machavim to save your chametz. Not machavim for nothing. I just want to leave my summer home because the summer's over. I want to go back home. So
At the end of the day, when you're mafter it, thinking
comes
that
Erev Pesach, he says, I'm mafker in Mevatel ka'afar da'ar. Maybe not. Says the Chayk Yaakov, Mechatesi v'choshishu. You're an Erel Chiyed. You want to Mevatel your chametz. You obviously mean it.
Isn't
We're
that
not
the Yerushalmi
kosher.
That's what haram is, no?
That's what I'm saying. So Chayk Yaakov is saying, when are we chosher haram? So says Chayk Yaakov.
Only when you left with the kavanah that that's where you're going to... When you,
He's assuming that by regular leaving, that's what his clear is. He has a whole children or Tershon. But let's assume that's not cooler. Yeah. Since when you left, you weren't doing anything wrong. So where's the chashash haram? Talk to Rashi. It's the chashash haram, but it's your chitin. It's your chitin because you want to save your chitin. That's what you're doing. It's not just what you want to do. That is what you're doing when you
that's
go
not the case of Yerushalmi. The case of Yerushalmi is mafker chimtzah.
The case of Yerushalmi. Oh, says the Chayk Yaakov. That's tough to say. You know what the Yerushalmi is talking about? A guy who didn't do beer. He didn't do bedika. That's how the Chayk Yaakov was learning this case. And that's it. Now, So
Before 30
it's a
days,
common
what's the
thing.
deal?
before 30 days,
It's not a person that wants to sell the company. Even before 30 days. Like,
we're by the chitim.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. By the chitim, the Rashba says it's before 30 days. You don't have to do beer biko, but it's going to be also
Right, always.
Why? Exactly, and it's very move on. Why? Because it's already chitim.
But it's a couple.
But when I leave,
another
no,
case,
when I
I'm
leave-
lechatchila piling it up. I could easily just take it and throw it.
Not easily.
out.
Who said it's easy? Who said it's
Because
easy?
you're
Yeah.
mafani,
You have to
you're
clear-
making it out to your pile.
I don't know if it's easy or not
You're
easy.
burying it.
Some we find if it's easy, some it's not easy. But the point is, all daites. Because also you don't have to be mad at all daites. It's not your kavanah. There's no balayatmin. There's no I'm saving my chometz. I need a room. This would be a good room to keep my son. I start piling up my son. Clean out your room. Said Chazal, before 30 days, we don't make trouble for you to clean out your room. When he gives man a bittel and a beer, so Chazal said, so do what you're supposed to do. Like we find in many cases, Chazal said, you're not going to do bedika beer. It's enough to just do bittel. So you do your bittel and you're fine. So, Azoi, let's get one thing clear. The Mishnah Brura is not Simchan Tzchikyan. So that means that even a person, Halacha L'mais, Mishnah Brura says only the Hefsed Ruba, very big Shas Chak. So if that's the case, then what's the Mishnah Brura saying? No. Kipshuta, we accept this din. So even though you were Badak, Ubitel, Mamish Kedash Kedin, and then you find your bottle of whiskey, so you say, what am I supposed to do? So this Manena, we have an Afshar from Mechir, but this Manehem, it wasn't like an option. So Afal Peking, we still answer that Chometz. That's what Mishnah says, let's have some we machmer not l'chakam. So what is it? Mishnah brings a list of Achronim on both sides. It's in Taf Mem Ches Sifat Chafei in Mishnah. Fine. So what does it mean? So L'chayr then, if we just, these 2 days in the Mishnah over here, so so if we're machmir l'chatchila, so then let's go back to our case. The guy who left his house and left his bottles of whiskey. So l'chayr l'fi d'chaykank, if he didn't do anything wrong, he did everything he was supposed to do. Yatsu b'shar l'fnei lamed. The comment is okay, it's not chaykank. But it says in Mishmur, we're not semichan chaykank. And even a person who does b'tika b'tol alts.
Shire too?
So as I Mishmur is machmir, speaks about the case of a person who did regular b'tika and b'tol. What sometimes happens, people first got married, the first day they don't even know you're supposed to do mechir. They know we don't have any chametz, they didn't do any mechir. This manei everyone's supposed to do mechir. But they didn't do mechir, and then they find the bottle of whiskey. So what is the halacha? So there's 2 days in Shulchan Aruch. There's 2 days in the place. So Mishmur says, not have some ruba, so I guess it depends how much the bottle's worth. So
There's a
Mishmur is
Chok
not.
Yaakov that says if you do bedika,
And bittul. Bedika
still
and
Mishnah
bittul.
is machmir.
And Mishmur says, Afal Pikin, Kama Friend, hold like that, you can only be Mako, Bakum Hefsid Meruba, Yesh Las Mechaleh.
Wow.
No, the bedika.
Red label.
Shash,
Blue
you do
label?
it properly.
Okay.
Because what?
Oh, so is this a raya for Yotze B'Shiar? So we would think, okay, great. Torah Shalom has a suffix, it's a Chaykav L'Shitasa, so the Mishnah Brura, even though he doesn't say anything over there, by us, in Tov Lamed Vav, so we would think that if the Mishnah Brura is machmer over here, even the guy who's a tzaddik gomer, he did the Dikah Bittel Manish Kedas Gedin, and we're machmer on him to apply the Yerushalmi, the Chash Harama, that you didn't, we weren't mavachal properly, so I think we should apply to the case of.
Has no shaykhs to the Rashba. This is a wild Chiddush.
Not only is it no shaykh to the Rashba, he's saying pshat in the Rashba. This whole halacha is the
How could you
Rashba.
say Harama to a guy who did bedika? A guy who knows he has a bottle of whiskey
Very
there, you
nice,
could say,
very
listen.
nice. So
you don't really mean it because you know
L'chayr, the
what's
pshat
in
is
there.
very
The guy
good.
checks the
I
bottle.
think that's a
What
very
is he
good
being
question.
Myron? He doesn't know
The
that.
pshat is like this: Chazal or worried for very chometz to Shash Bayra Bayra. Chometz, Pesach, Kares, very chometz. That's just allowed actually. Very chometz. So a guy says, I did Bedika Bittul. He learned Taf Lamed Gimel Mamish Shtak. He did his Niker. He did Chayim Zdakin, Or Haner, Alts. Then after Pesach, he says, oh wow, I missed that bottle of whiskey. How about that? My luck.
Beautiful.
And he's okay.
Whole
L'chaim.
cabinet.
L'chaim. Oh, I forgot about that cabinet. So I think there is makom to say that even the Fidim Achmir, you have to check. The Mishnah brings a whole list. We'll get back to this. That's the Shem Taflim Tetz. We see a little more in the placement size. Huge avich in the placement over here. Selling whiskey was a very big Yiddish parnasa. So it was a big shas at. So Chayr, the pshat is that there's fart areas in your bedika. Because what's the chash by bittul? Yushalmi says, I was mafkir chimtza your gimel, says the you're not allowed to take it back. Why? The Yushalmi's talking, I took my stuff and put it outside. So the Rashi says, because we know, because we're chayshish that, well, I put all my expensive stuff outside. Maybe if you live in a Yiddish shishtat, no Jew's going to take it. You put it in the middle of the street, you're eyeing it the whole Pesach, and you weren't really mavatal, mafkir, believe me. You weren't really mavatal, so you decided, and then you take it back. So that, we're chayshish that haram. So say the placement. Who had in if you did bedika and you found the big bottle? Yeah, I'm sure you did a great bedika. How'd you miss that big bottle of whiskey? Meaning, there's still makom to say, just like Rechoshish, a person takes his chametz, puts it outside, he says, I'm mafkir my chametz, and afal pikim we aser it. So he knows he's going to get it back.
Right, but the guy
Exactly.
did Batika.
Again, if he did a proper bedika, fine. But let's say in the back of his mind he's thinking, okay, I'll do a bedika. I don't want to check over there so much. Maybe I'll find something I don't want to find. I'm just saying there's still makom to say that there's a chash harama. A person can be married on his bedika, so he can be married on his bittul. What I'm saying is, masha'ein kain, there's still makom l'chalik. That a person who's yatz b'shiara, and before 30 days, there's nothing to talk about. He's not Allah al daito. A person who leaves his summer home, he's not thinking about Pesach. It's still better this case when you're yatz b'shara, because then there's no chashash haram on the bedika. Chazal don't want you to do bedika. They told you don't do bedika over here, just do bittul. So it could be even if you do machmirim over here, there's still makom to say that even if we're machmir, that you did that maybe we're chosh, you did a shvacha bedika, and you're going to find your chametz, so we have to be choshish for harama, even though ala panim, from what we see, you did everything you're supposed to do. You did bedika, you did bittul, and afal pikim, we're answering that bottle of whiskey. A person who's yatz b'shiara, a person who left his house, there's no makom for a chashash harama. What time did we have on the get? He did everything exactly like Chazal said. Over here you also did, maybe not. Maybe you didn't do a proper bedika. Maybe there's makom to be choshish for harama.
That sounds like a Stevenson run. Stevenson run with
Is that what?
No one speaks that to the comments after this.
Like Yotzi B'Shara? Right, so I pointed out that's Igros Moshe. Says it for Dar Pashtasar. Torah Shlomim raises the issue and he clears the Shiloh. So I'm just saying in the Chanami, you see, at least we already have from Torah Shlomim, from the Chayk Yankiv, it's one of the Gedolah HaPoskim in Shulchan Aruch, you see it's not so partial. What I'm saying is that even if we reject the Chayk Yankiv and Tafnum Ches, that a person who did Bedika in his house, then we find in his very house, we say, okay, what kind of Bedika did you do already? Shenkin, if it's Yotzi B'Shara, it should be okay.
Wait, what's the logic?
That
This is better? Because the shard is better than
it's
the
better because there's no chash harama. What I'm saying is there's fartach chash harama by a person who did a bedika and a bittul. Even if he did a bedika, because maybe you didn't do a proper bedika. Just like Rechoshish, your bittul wasn't bittul b'leiv shalom, says the Rashba. So Rechoshish, your bedika wasn't a good bedika. On purpose. Maybe a person will not do a good bedika. Say, I did bedika, yeah, this is great.
yes, I'm sure he's not thinking that.
Mashenki, yes, B'Shara, when it comes time for the bedika, Arnal Avasar, Chazal say, we don't want you to do bedika. Just do bittul. You're not-
You just mitzad the Bittul one in Chayshish, because you're saying what you said before.
Again, so that's the question. Since he did everything you're supposed to do, and we have no reyasa in anything, again, that's the Chagyan Kisar. The Svarah
Rashba also did.
Hashenkin in the Rashba's case, even though you didn't do anything wrong, but it's worse than Haram. It's das mefureshes to be Zayich in the Chametz after Pesach. He's mamish thinking, I'm going to take this, I'm going to sell my chitim after Pesach. I mean, that's what he does for a living. He sells chitim. So he's going to sell it after Pesach. Hashenkin over here, person who leaves his house, he's not thinking about the bottles of whiskey.
You can say-
Shasta, he's doing the Bedika 3 minutes before his Ma'aser.
Bittul, you mean?
Yeah, Bittel, so he's going to think about his chametz.
Right, exactly. So this is a very crucial point. It's still possible that you can have a chash harama. So that's what the Moshe said. That's what Igros Moshe says, listen, all I see from Yerushalmi is chash harama across the board. So that's it. I don't care if you're the biggest tzaddik Yisrael Olam and you didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly what Chazal said, but there's still far. So I'm just pointing out is that that's not mukhra. And the Stevens Hadarm is mashma that a person who's gar er l'chiyid, he did everything he's supposed to do. He left before 30 days. Left his summer home. He's doing everything according to the books. And there's no raya from our chumrah in a person who's badik b'dikah because there is still makam to mufakfik, just like the mufakfik on a person b'dikah, mufakfik on his b'dikah. But here there's no chalais b'dikah. Now, if by us in Tafim Hey, everyone should be getting there soon. In Tafim Hey, right at the beginning, Taki Moshe brings an Arzurua. And the Arzurua is chiluk on the Rashba. And the Arzurua says the pshat in Yerushalmi is that the chash harama is that a person is going to lie. The reason we don't allow a person to say I was mafker my chametz before Pesach and then to take it back after Pesach is because he's probably lying. Probably wasn't mafker. The chashash is he'll lie and say I was mafker. He wasn't mafker. Pasha kept it the whole time. So we're choshish that and we ask. Says the Arzurua, but a person who actually takes his chametz and he has Eidim and he puts it out in the street and he says ich bin mafker, and the whole Pesach he's saying to him that no one should take it, and he's das meforesh to take it back. Says the Arzurua, it's beseder gam. What? Because the ma'aser you're mafker. Now this might go, we'll see, everyone keep this in mind, you learn Tafim Hey, if it's Tali and Gidrei Bittel, Tafim Adal, remember it's Tali Hefker, Hashbas B'Leiv. The Maisa Hefker Gomer is for sure a Kiyum, maybe not of Hashbas B'Leiv, but certainly it gets it out of the problem of Ba'ira. So says that, yeah, let's assume that, right, we'll see in Tafim Hey, so Gimel is a discussion about that. The Arzurua says, if you put it out in your house, Gival B'Kavi, he brings a raya from different Yerushalmi and Shvias, got a beer by Shvias. So, he learns the chash harama is only because we think that you're a liar, that you didn't do a hefker at all. But if we know, then now, so to Daki Moshe, we don't accept the source of it. We pass like the Rashba, which is and this broad Shulchan. Says the Darkei Moshe, it's a big cooler to think that a person can be mafkir his chametz al das liskos by afterwards. That's not enough. So the Mela, even if we know for sure that a person actually did the hefker, that's still not enough. So my point is, there's darkers. According to the Arzarua, you can take your chametz, put it outside, and be mafkir it, and have mamish in mind that to take it back. That's okay.
After the day.
Whole mechir is a haram.
Yeah, we have to know about it. We have to know it should be a rabbi. According to the Rashba, no, that's no good. I have Eidim, I did everything I was supposed to do. Says the Rashba, we know you didn't mean it, but Lev Shalom. You weren't really mafkir. It was out in the street. Now, Hagam, that other people could have taken him. But Lamaisa, you weren't mafkir it. So Meil, there's a Chash Harama, and then we're gonna ask her. What I'm saying is, even in that side, that a person wasn't mafkir Lev Shalom, and he wasn't Mavatam Lev Shalom, there's still Makam Lodin, and that's what this whole discussion is about. A person who is mafkir, a person who is mafkir al das liskois is taka problem. And that's what the Rashba is choshish for, and that's not a proper bittul. It's not a proper hefker legabe chametz. But when are we choshish for that chash? So we can be very extreme and say we're always choshish no matter what. We're always choshish. That's one side. And even if you do bittul, beer, bedika, everything, we're always going to ask for chametz every Pesach because we're always choshish.
Why do you need mechir according to that? Saying take out my rishus.
What do you mean? Why do you need mechir?
According to the
Rashba.
Rashba.
According to the Ramah, who's chiluk on the
Even if you take it
Urzurua,
out of your Urzurua, if you take it out of your rishus, so why
we're choshish for haram, right?
So why are we choshish for haram? I mean,
Well,
mechir is
mechir is-
also haram.
It's nichas l'shusacher. Yeah, it goes into his. It's the guy. It belongs to the guy.
Hefker is out of my rishus, but not nichnas into someone else's rishus.
That's part of the shaila. You shall be discussing who for that machlokes in the Darim, whether how hefker works. But al kapana, I'm just saying like this: that even the didan that we're machmer neged arzua, we hold that you can't have das because when are we choshish for that haram? So there's a tzad to say is okay, you're always. That's what the stima tzad marim is. And even if you're boydek and vatal, and even if you leave before 30 years, what I'm saying is up to chayk Yaakov. No, some place can think, and there's a huge arichas about this. It's only if you did something wrong. It's only if you didn't do bittul. If you didn't do bittul, so fine. But if you didn't do bedika, but if you did bedika, then you're okay. Says Mishbur, we're not samich on those places can either. But what I'm saying is one step farther than that, to say even according to Mishbur that we're machmer that even if you did bedika bittul, there's still chash rama. But it could be it's all totally in when there is a chash rama. So there's a chash rama in your bedika. If we found chametz in your house, mashein came by yotze b'shara. There's makom to be machalek that even lefi the chumrah of the Rashba and the chumrah neged the choykak that even if your body battle is chash rama, but if you're mabish yotze b'shara, it would be okay. And l'chayr that's all l'chayr to dvarim ufrashim in the Mishbur. Because the Mishbur after he brings the choykak and he's chaylik on the choykak, he says you have to be machmer only makom have to believe it.
According to Svara, it's a reyes on your bedika, so hefsed murder should be even worse. Fine.
Right.
Or how
Right.
could you have a-
Elamai soif kol soif. That is you're right. It's a siba lahachmir, but ultimately it's also a siba lahakal. That's klali, you know. He's going in stam plug to the dina, so speak of the dina. So we're saying on das yachid or whatever other sheet is yes. So Mishbur says like this. Two more cases. Let's say a guy's on a boat. He has chametz with him. Also tough and chesed. Guy's on a boat. Erev Pesach. He's got chametz with him. So he has two options: throw it overboard. Instead, he puts it in front of on the boat. He says, "Big announcement, everyone! I'm after the chametz." And then no one touches it. I guess all Jews on the boat, whatever. After Pesach, what's the din? So Mishbur brings big, huge machlokes on place. He says it's a problem. Now that's similar to the Chagagov question. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was mafker in front of everyone. I have no bedika to do here. I wasn't over on any bedika. I had no bedika to do. But it's the same kind of problem. Just like we're machmer connected to the Chagagov, that we say maybe we have a reis in your bedika. Here, what's the reis? There's makom to be chosh reis. Well, why didn't you just throw the chametz overboard? Why do you put it down and say I'm machmer in front of everyone? So Mishbur is machmer there also, except Hefsed Ruba, so it brings all shot in the places. It's not like there's a Ruba. We hope not. Meaning again, if there is a Ruba, he can put it down and say Hinni Muchan Mizumah to be. Here we're telling you don't be mechaven liskos by after Pesach, and he's not. He's assuming other people will take it as. But if after Pesach it's still there, he's allowed to take it back. Then the Mishbur says another din, and here he's Mekel. Where is he Mekel? I mean, Im Hoya Baderech. L'chayr is mamish speaking out the case of Shiar, of Yotzil Shiar. L'chayr. Everyone can check it out himself. Im Hoya Baderech, and Iskar Shishal Chametz B'Seich Beisach. He's Baderech, and he remembers Oyvei. I forgot. I have whiskey at home in the summer home. V'loy Hoya Loy L'Milim Kar B'Erev Pesach Katikon Ma'amid B'Hifkir B'Pnei Eidim. And so he says, listen, I just remembered that I have Chametz at home. I don't know what to do. I have no one to sell my Chametz to. There's only Jews there. He's mafkir. Says to Mishabura, no problem. Everything's mutter. Nirad Yuchol Lismach was Adas Mekivim. Lach Shal Liskos B'Achar Pesach Lihanos B'Menu. And he says because he wasn't in his house. He couldn't be mevaris chametz. Imkein lo yachol imkarv lo levar ketikun chazal. Harei mechuyev hayol lahafkir mitzad adin. What was he supposed to do? He's obviously supposed to go in front of Yid and say, Yid, all my chametz back home, it's all hefker gomer. Now, it was under lock and key at home. So imkein elon lo kontzei laser chemtzei. Kishachoyzer v'zoicha boy. What are we supposed to ask you? He did everything he's supposed to do.
Even
Is
though
that
he
what
has
it
a
was?
Zika, it's worse than
No chiyuv v'dika. No chiyuv v'dika.
He's Teichel Lamed.
No, he's now Techlam. He left b'fnei lamed. I'm assuming that
Oh.
you must say this. You should rule you can't be talking about Lavarian. He didn't. Good point. Let's assume he's talking about a person who left his summer home already in the summertime. And now, Mishabura, after being so machmer, we're machmer for the Rashba. We're machmer if you did Bedika and Bittel in your own house. Chash harama. Why? Who said you did good Bedika? Maybe you didn't do good.
How's this better than the case of
This-
Here
What do you mean
you
Arzuba? Arzuba is when you're Mavatal, Al Manas Lizkois Boy. And even if you took it out of Yoshus. Right. The Rashba says, a person who does such a hefker, that's a bad hefker. You're not Yotzazam such a hefker.
What did you do?
So the Chash Haram is Rechoshish for that.
What was wrong with the hefker?
That you had a mind, that in your mind and in your heart, you really the whole time held that I'm going to get that back.
That's what we're
It's Al Manas Lizkois Boy. That's the Chash, because the Rashba, that's a puzzle hefker.
So here it's in my rishos.
So here it's in your Rishos. It says but says the Mishabura, we're not Choshish you. You're an Erlich Yid. Why would you have Kavanah to be Zeichabay? Meaning the Mishabura paskins the Rashba. So in the end of Taf Mem Hey, and you see this coming in Sugi, at the end of Taf Mem Hey, Mishabura says the halacha of Bittul is that you have to make sure that says Taf Mem Hey Mishabura. Afilu menichu b'makam mufker l'kol tzarich sheyafkiredu legamri b'pivu b'liboy v'lo yeh b'daita b'shas hefker lachzer b'liskus b'lachar pesach shem yesh b'daita kain einu hefker gomer kol zman shel zach b'achar. So you're asking, so what? If it's in Rishus Harabim, who cares? L'maisa, that's the halach. We pass back to Rashba, and Rashba said it's okay. We hold it's a problem. We're machmer for the Rashba. We're machmer for all these chashas. But I'm pointing out is that even Mishpur is saying it's only where either you're an Avarian, or even if you're not an Avarian, you did Bedika. But he still have a shtick of chash rum. We did Bedika, and then we found chametz. We found the whiskey in your house. Or in a case where you had another opportunity, you could have thrown it overboard the ship, and you didn't. You're just mafkir. It's like, what are you doing? So Elamai, there's chash rum over there. But if Zak Mishmur, this guy's in lo malasot, he's supposed to be left before 30 days. No one's thinking about Pesach, because all they want you to think about Pesach at that point. You don't have to. And then it comes man beer, and he has nothing to do. Zak Mishmur, then you can make over the Evid. Oh, so that's what I'm saying. So that's Igros Moshe. Igros Moshe says, yeah, meaning you're saying there's makom for the Chash Haram.
But any case, even the case that
It's a
Shimon
pretend.
was saying,
I want to
there's
get
a
a
makom for the
deeper
Chash
job.
How many
My house
men
before
did
30 days.
Now, again,
In the case of this Mishnah Brewer,
this is a little difficult, but I don't know how we shtim this Lamaisa. The Mishnah Brewer says you have to really believe in your heart. It's not enough listeners. So this person is Masber has to really think that Lu Yitzur, someone's going to go into my house over the course of Pesach. It's locked. I hear the problem.
But now we're saying it's relative, so it depends on the person. What we were saying before is that
So that's what I'm
it's
saying.
not
The Lachal
relative.
Ma'is says in the Shabura, if you're a kosher yid, we're not kosher you unless we have a reason to be kosher you. Here, there's no reason to be kosher you. You're a kosher yid who's doing exactly what Chazal told you to do.
Same thing Rachel was saying. Guy did b'dik, guy did beer, he finds a bottle of whiskey.
So I'm just saying there's makom for chash because
Here, there's also makom for chashash.
no, there's chash in your vedika. Meaning,
There's
there's a reyes, so let's call it like that. There's a reyes in your vedika. You did vedika. How can I find the bottle of whiskey if you did a vedika? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not perfect.
But according to this,
Mashik,
if the guy
there's
was
no reyes.
master-
There's no reyes. You're right. There's a makom for chash because he has a lot of chametz back
There's
in
a
it.
so in the Hefker, his house is locked. Nobody's going in there unless someone breaks
And he
in.
left beheaded.
It's not a reyes in the hefker. Meaning reyes means something went wrong. Something's not as it should be. So if it's a person did a bedika, he shouldn't be finding chametz. Found chametz, that's really questionable.
Does Hefker even work like this? The guy's mafker something in his house that's locked. That's Hefker. Anybody
Yeah,
can
if
take
they
it.
aid them, sure. That means that these two aid them right now. See, now today we live with telephones, so it's a little bit easier to understand. That means someone could call them and say, you can go into his house and take whatever you want. But this person, Tak has to believe Shalom, meaning this person in Taf Mem Ches, he has to know the Mishmur Taf Mem Pei also. When he does the Hefker, he's Tak believe Shalom. He's not thinking, oh, I'm going to get it back. Now, if you ask him, you're going to get that chametz back. Could be I will. That's not what I want. I want to be mafkir now believe Shalom. He doesn't want to be over by your so he wants to Tak and get it out of his shoes.
Maybe. The guy, just like the guy who's on the boat, he had another option to throw it out, right? So that guy's a haroma guy because he had another option. He had a way of getting rid of the chametz. So the guy was Yotze B'Sheyara, and the guy, really, the same thing applies by the Rashba's case and the Yotze B'Sheyara. All those cases, in a chanami, he had a patur. He's patur from having the headache of doing b'dikas chametz because it's 30 days before. At the end of the day, he had the option of throwing it over the boat. He had the option of doing b'dika. This
Person who
guy,
had the chametz with him.
the guy Yotze B'Sheyara, the guy Yotze B'Sheyara
With chametz with him?
No.
No, back at home.
Back back
Before he
home.
left.
Yeah, before he left.
Oh, before he left.
Before he left, he said, listen, I'm going to leave. I'm Pater from Bedika. I'll worry about it afterwards. But Lamaisa, he had the option before to take this Chometz and throw it out. Now, but the guy, but this case of the what's his name, of the Mishnah over here, where the guy left, right, now he's in a situation right now, let's say he left even play from it. He's in a situation right now, he's an Oinus Gomer, he has no option of throwing it over. He didn't choose to do a hefker in front of other people instead of throwing it over. He didn't choose to rely on a
description of the Yitzhak. He's describing the case.
From Shimi's tiny
right, he's worse. He's the guy who left. He didn't Yosef Bishiyara. He didn't Yosef Bishiyara with an option of Bedika.
No.
He
When
didn't
he
even have
left,
an
I
option.
assume this guy, if he left, he said, by the way, you're leaving now. Do you have Chometz at home? So, yeah, of course. I forget that he had when he left. Why are you saying that? He's just saying that he forgot. It was Erev Pesach. And he wasn't able to Misader and Mechira. He's like, oh, I totally forgot. Wow, I have Chometz back at home. Talk about the normal case.
Maybe he thought he would do.
He
thought he was
like
going to do up
Torah
here.
Mashay
It's
came
real innocence.
when everything was planned out. That he knows he's
You're
going
saying in
to
this Torah Oinus, if Lamaisa you're Choshish for that situation, and certainly Toich Lamed, and L'chach Shash Ram Gilel Mizu.
But
What?
he's stuck. He thought he'd get back. He thought he would get back in time.
Then that's a big Shash Ram if you left Toich Lamed.
So
That's the same Shash. Then I would certainly apply the same Shash. Mishpur says a guy, Orlar Basar, schwitzed for 3 hours doing Bedika Bittel. He did everything he was supposed to do. He checked his whole house.
So he thought the meal.
And Afal Pikeim, we're going to say that we're still Choshish. So if the Svara is, because there's still Epis Shaykh Shash Rama, I would think a person who leaves Toich Lamed, Narvas, a person who leaves before Lamed, that's already a question what Chazal Mechayiv. Obviously, in the back of his mind, a person leaves his summer home, he knows there's whiskey there. Chazal are not matl on you, there's no lechatchil dev, you're not supposed to think about that. And that's always the lashon of the place, Kim Sai and Tov Lamed, Vav and Sai over here, Tov Lamed Ches, that he did everything he was supposed to do. Kidasu did it perfectly, and we have no reason to assume otherwise. Now, you're pointing out, 1 second, there's a huge potential for haram over here. So, there's makom to say, once there's potential for haram, it's finished, bi'aser. Says Mishbruno, because as long as you're doing everything to Tikkun Chazal, like Kansinon. So what's the kras of harama? It's only when we have some kind of raglayim ladav or reyasa to be ma'orer that you have you're being married. Then we're matlan you this reyasa. So meaning bismanenu, I would think like this: bismanei hem. So once you're 30 days out of your house, so you're fine. B'shas b'yer chametz, what are you supposed to do? So you're matlan, I mean it's fine. In Mishru's case, bismanenu, I would think a person should probably call his neighbor and tell him where the key is. Meaning a person remembers Erev Pesach morning that I'm in Eretz Yisrael, my apartment back in America. I forgot. I call someone up, tell them to go in. Let's say it's not possible to do a mechira, I don't have time to do a mechira. Call my neighbor, go and take all the whiskey and put it out in the street. Where's my nisser? That's what I tell them to do. And then from the fact you didn't do that, then you're like the guy in the boat. And the Mishmur is machmir. So it has to be a case where, but if a person is a minute before Bittul, or a minute before Yisur Chametz, and he remembers about it, he did a Bittul already, he's not all his Chametz in the world, and he just totally forgot, he didn't do any Mechira, and he forgot about that.
He's in jail.
That's the case of Teresh Lamim. So then L'chayra, there would be Bakum Maka. And that's, so Kim T'chais is very interesting. You have to check that Igros Moshe. Everyone has to see this Mishnah Berurah again, Tafman Ches, Sifkan Chafei. But L'chayra, he's Takabi Mechalik, and even if there's many dargers to this chumrah of Chometz Pesach. See in Tafim Ches, Parichos, but even if we're machmer for the Rashba, and we're machmer for someone who did B'dika Bittul, and we're machmer for someone who could have done something else, a person who was a pasha to Pshuta Kamashmal Yotz B'Shiyara and left his whiskey home and didn't do Mechira, L'chayra would flee Divrei Mishnah Berurah. It would be Makom Haka. And L'chayra the time is that we're not Choshesh Stam Harama for in every case that it's Shaykh Harama, only in case where there's some kind of a Ragaim Adama. And I'll show you that in we found we're looking for chuvas, in Shai Chuva it brings tons of chuvas. Look over there, Gabi these shilas. The mice we found in the Shutmi Mamakim from Oshri, it was the Rav in the Kovna ghetto. So they had the shilah because they had chametz. Jews had chametz. Food and chametz is very hard to come by, and they came to ask him Erev Pesach what to do. So they theoretically maybe could have sold to a guy, but Pashtus would be Chashash Pekuach Nefesh. He sold to a guy. He's going to tell him that you weren't allowed to have bread and food, So he mamish goes into the sugya of the question of bittul kimechi, that it was impossible to do anything else, and you couldn't do beer. So Lamaisa, he quotes a little bit this Mishpur in the place over here. Lamaisa, in that case, it's a klur. I mean, Lamaisa he himself was ma'achel, it's nefesh, and it was whatever. Lamaisa over there, the whole kavana in keeping it and not throwing it out on the street is a pasha to kavana liskos b'lachar Pesach. So Lamaisa he's mekel because anyways he's madrich them that they should go in front of the Beis Din, take 3 people and say, oh my chametz is hiding here in this bunker down here, I'm mafkir believe shalom. So, and he thinks that you'll be yotzei zayin with that.
You would not take
Without
it
the
out of the
kuchen nefesh taina. Yeah, but they couldn't take it out of the house. Then it would be gone. The Nazis would come and take it. So, what? Oh, so that's what I'm saying. I think l'chayra all bring some kind of darzura. You know, mice it's taka hefker. I told 3 Yidden it's hefker, and they think taka go take it. They're not going to go take it. That's exactly what Urzura was talking about. That's the Yerushalmi by Shvius. And for beer, for Shvius, yeah, exactly. That's exactly the Yerushalmi. That's what the Urzura was coming from. So I think that you have. It's mashma over there in his tshuva that you have better than that. That kaviyachol you're being yotzei zayin some kind of shita where you don't have to be choishish for taf memches for this din of the Rashba that you're machab in this case. But okay, so over there they had other reasons to make. Well, anyways, it sounds like it's koch nefesh, but that's the var. So over there, there's no suffix. You ask them why you're not throwing it out. The reason I'm not throwing it out is because I want to be zoich and after Pesach I want to eat. Actually, ain't came this guy who left his whiskey in the summer home. So like you're saying, come on. You be mafkir this Chometz, you know that in 8 days you're going to get it back. That's not his kavanah. Kind of we could say, no, I haven't mind to be mafkir. If anyone in any way, shape, or form will come and take that and walk off with it, I'll be happy. And he should know that. He should be happy with it.
My issue is more if a guy does a bedika and a beer and he's mamish erla. We're saying that he's gonna have to throw away the boule.
Right? Because there's makom for a chashashet, right? If it's makom, has to be we're takamegel. But if there's makom for what's it called? If it's makom for chashashet, again, the Chash Harama, we're not talking Atav Rishiyas, we're talking about Kasher Yidin, Nafal Pigin, Choshesh Varam. So that's Machlok Zapoiskim, Chanami. The emphasis is the Pashas of Yerushalmi is that we're talking about. It doesn't say anywhere in Yerushalmi anything about whether you did B'dik or didn't B'dik. It just says Choshesh Varam. So the Chanami, but the Oifen, that you did everything to ask you din, and there's no Reyaso or nothing that's Mis'ayr to think that you're being marim, then even in a case where there's a big makom for the chash ram, it seems that halacha ma'isa there's makom lahakol, which would be the like a different igros Moshe. So we have to check out halacha ma'isa and see if that's what it has.